This is one of 4 videos which are recorded on 30 November 2019 but are scheduled for release around 20 April 2020. As you are aware, this is the search area, this part here. This is the blaze down here. I will use Google Maps to identify the coordinates so you can zoom in on the location yourselves. That's the coordinates of the blaze. Now showing you some of the features of the search area, and the initial ones may be quite unimportant, but they may have some significance to you. And hopefully we finish off with a location and the coordinates of the treasure chest, which may or may not be correct. But anyway, zooming in. First items of note, the F here, which on Google Maps, the coordinates of that spot there, you can read those off. Next item over here, just rotating slightly. That area there seems to say Fox, F-O-X. Don't know if that's important, but I'll get the coordinates for that, which is just there. You can read those off. Next item, zooming out, rotating the image. Just here seems to say B, S, G, with a line which I guess is a log through the center. Again, may just be an illusion, but the coordinates of that are just there. You can read those off. The next one in Google Earth is this region here, which may just be natural variation and colors, but it may read CES or CFS, which is linked to the treasure chest. The same markings are on the latch or the lock, I guess, which supposedly are meaningless, and there's some kind of cost code for Forrest Fenn. However, that may possibly be a connection, so it's a bit hard to see, but it's that area there, and the coordinates of that area are on the screen there. The next item on Google Earth is the plus signs, and there's one just around that area there. I'll zoom out a bit, and that's just above that bright patch there, which used to have a star in it, but it seems to have been obscured. And the location of that cross using Google Maps is shown on the screen down the bottom there. And the plus signs, they're relevant. If you go to Google image search, you can find the picture of Lollipop from one of Fenn's books, Too Far to Walk. And if you zoom in, you find there are 2 crosses there, which I think are relevant to the final location of the treasure chest. There's also an X in the door there, which I will explain in another video as on drawings as to how that may be relevant. So next item to show is another area up in here. And if you look closely, there's a kind of a gold shading there, like a box, and above that If I change the orientation, that there looks like a 5, and next to it, different way of showing it, looks like a 7. So there seems to be maybe a line there. That might be the edge of the Google Earth image. But that area where the gold markings is may also be a clue as to the location of the treasure. I drew up some lines trying to replicate the cover of Once Upon a While. This is the result of that. It is quite rough, but basically that is a representation from the drawings on the cover of Forrest Fenn's book Once Upon a While, which I'll show you that image, which is there. So you've got that basic shape, triangular shape, down below the stream and leading to that point there, marked by the star. So on my theory, that point up the top there coincides with the gold markings in Google Earth, which would be, zooming out, up there. So if you use those markings in the rough outline, it leads down to this tree down here, which in Google Earth is that tree down there. And you'll notice there's a box around that tree, and there's also an X. And I think this may be important to the final location. So that tree, for those who want the details now, that tree is around that location there. The GPS coordinates are at the bottom of the screen. Another aspect to consider with the gold coloured area around there is the distance that box shape is from the Cache Creek Trail, which runs through there, that line there. So using the measuring tool, putting that in feet, so from there to the Cache Creek Trail is about 200 feet, which matches up amazingly with the 200-foot searcher line. But I don't know if that's relevant, but the distance down to the other area I've marked is about 175 feet. So all up you're looking about 370 feet. So that would mean people are within 500 feet of the treasure just simply by walking down the Cache Creek Trail. The next area of interest is down below that tree, and that grassy area, which seems a bit greeny compared to the rest of the search area, and that seems to have markings in it. One is a plus sign just there, the other is an 8, which is kind of there, one circle, another circle, which also fits in with the double omegas principle, double omegas. You also have this squiggly line here, which looks like a back to front S. And there's also, if you zoom out, there's kind of a trail there of black dots leading that way. So that may be a Hansel and Gretel type representation of leaving pebbles or breadcrumbs to mark the way. And if you zoom out here, along the edge of this box, there's also dots here, there, probably there, and there. Some of those dots don't seem to coordinate with being shadows of anything, but they may be aberrations they may be an indication as to the location of the treasure, which I set out in another video about drawings and what they may mean. This is one of my late edits for further items in the treasure search area. Zooming into this area here, there are a few other items which may be of interest. First item is just here, which if you rotate that 180 degrees, that part in the center there says B, I, lowercase I, and a P. Bip, as in Forrest Fenn's dog, called Bip. And the location of that, the GPS coordinates of the B are 44.829385 minus 110.096992. Forrest Fenn's tribute to Bip is included on Dale Neitzel's website as Scrapbook 243, which that post goes through the various moments between Forrest and Bip and what Bip meant to Forrest. The other items in that area of interest, getting back to straight, looks like down here there's a J, and it's like a four-leaf clover pattern, which is reminiscent of the drawing on page 99, this one here. And down the bottom corner you got the JF and similar markings as to the leaf pattern. Whether that is a reference to that drawing is up to you to decide. And the location of that GPS coordinates are those ones shown on the screen. Going back to Google Earth, the other items to note up here, it's hard to zoom into that, but it looks like a young girl's face. So you've got the dark hair, got a lock of hair coming down there, the two eyes, and possibly a cheeky grin or a tongue being poked out, which may be reminiscent of possibly Forrest Fenn's sister June. There is a family photograph in The Thrill of the Chase, which I have seen. I don't know if that is a reference or is that is placed there intentionally. There's also the possibility that this part here may be another person's representation of an image, sunglasses there, but that's probably a bit obscure. And the other thing to note is this area in here looks like there are meant to be fallen logs, but somehow they've been altered. Possibly that part there with Bip written upside down as it is now, and possibly these logs here, there's some editing gone on there, which all of this is fairly close to the suggested location of the treasure. And the other one, which may be a face in the imagery, is down here. So if you look, it's kind of an arched eyebrow there. You got an eye there, another eyebrow there. That's basically the nose. You got the mouth and possibly a beard. But maybe that's just reading too much into the imagery. This is another late edit, which is done on 24 December 2019 on points of interest in the treasure search area. Going back to this area, if you zoom into this location here, it looks like a face hidden in the shadows of the trees. That's the outline of the face there. That's an eyeball there, another one there, both looking to the right. There seems to be a 9 or a 6 there. There's a curved line. It's like there's a V there. Maybe that's the mouth. And over here it's kind of like a box shape, almost a box shape, and a line there, so they may be indicating something. It is up to you to decide. The location of that feature is the GPS coordinates shown on the screen from Google Maps. So this is where it gets interesting. If you go down into the tree line here, and just there's a box there which is very hard to see, but I'm sure it's been placed there. And if you rotate that around, you find there's a 6 there, looks like a 5 in that space there, or it could also be a 5 which starts there, cross, down and around. And there's also some writing out here which looks like it's just barely legible, if at all, which looks like MR and maybe a G. But what the relevance of this box is that it may be a pointer to the location of the treasure. I'll draw up the lines to show you that. So going back to, oh sorry, I'll get the coordinates for that one for you. So that is down there, which is those coordinates at the bottom. Now going to Google Earth, zoom in on the blaze and using the measuring tool, start there. Then going directly through that diamond-shaped box from one point to the other. And extending that line through. Just finish that and then zoom in. You can see that goes through the 2 points of the marker box with the 6 and the 5 in it. So it may actually be 56. I don't know if that's a representation of page numbers. 65 is the Buffalo Cowboys page, but I can't locate what page 56 may be, if that's the reference. So following that line, it goes pretty much precisely through the X in that square box there, next to the single tree. But one other point of interest is this one here. I think it virtually goes through that X as well. So whether that's another further reference, I'm not sure. I thought they went exactly through there, but maybe I haven't drawn it too well. So maybe. But anyway, the relevance of that is the tree in the box. So this tree here, if you zoom right in, you'll find there's an X or a plus sign. That's the vertical and that's the horizontal. It's fairly hard to see, but this may be the final location of the treasure chest, in that the treasure may be hidden in the shadow of that tree. There are certainly references to shadows in some of Forrest Fenn's drawings, and I'll just hit the 3D mode and see what else is there. So that's across there. So my guess is there may be a log in the shadow, and the chest is either in the log or buried beneath it, somehow beneath it. Going back to 2D mode, straightening the image, There is also a possibility that there is a number 6 there, where some of those swirls or sixes seem to be represented in some of the drawings in Forrest Fenn's books. Also, around the area where that diamond-shaped box is, if you zoom in, just check the orientations, makes it readable, but it looks like there's a 5 and a 1 just above that diamond-shaped box. I don't know if they're page references or distances in feet or yards, but there's a few things there to look at. There's also a squiggle down there, which may just be a natural formation, but it's up to you to look through the shadows and see if there's something hidden in those as well. In addition to the figure 8 in the grassy area, in here, as representing the double omegas, there is also some indications near the creek, which may also be representations of the double omega. So if you zoom into this part here, might be too far, you'll find there's a circle of dots there, plus there's also a circle here, of a grassy circle, I guess you'd call it, and near that area, the interesting part is there may be a circle just there, and there seems to be kind of like a drawing of a person facing left. There's the hairline, the brow, the nose, the chin. There seems to be a line through there, and possibly those lines there may be part of that drawing. And there's a M-like structure, or a bird-like structure, I guess, underneath that. But I would say that these two rings here would constitute an omega. I don't know if they have any role in pointing to the direction of the treasure. If you draw a line from the blaze through those points, through there, you'll find it goes fairly close to those bright patches, which I don't know if they have any significance other than maybe indicating the area and possibly lining up with some bright patches on the treasure map, which I showed you around near the anacondas and the sapphires. There's two bright yellow patches there. So that may explain what the omegas are in the Got Mad Thrills t-shirt design and in the circles in the Gypsies drawing. The GPS coordinates in Google Maps for those two circles are the one with the dots is shown there, and the one below it is shown there. And if you wanted to check out that drawing, that's around that point there. One other thing, the cover of Forrest Fenn's book, Too Far to Walk, makes use of shadows, and I guess maybe it's one individual casting a shadow, which may be an indication that it is one tree, and in the shadow of that tree may be found the treasure. It may be relevant, it may not be. It's just another thought on what may be an indication of the final location of the treasure. So I think that basically covers it. If I'm right, I've given you the chest location, and that will be in Google Maps. That will be that point there, which is 44.829435 minus 110,096,773. If you are going out to search for the treasure, please be safe, please be aware of the weather conditions, and good luck with your search.